Florida State and Clemson Saturday night in, boy, is it even Death Valley at this point? That, it's Dead Valley at this point between these two teams. Did I see the stat correctly? They've lost their last 6 Power 4 games at home. They are just atrocious. They're a mess. They gave up 46 points to Duke this weekend, which is wild, right? I got a lot of respect for Manny Diaz and what he's done back-to-back years there, but still, come on. What are we doing here? I think both defenses will be atrocious. I love the over. I don't care what the number is. I love it anyway. I do think it's a little interesting to me that this is a 2.5 point spread. And I know that Clemson just finds way to lose at this point. Florida State's offense has put up a lot of yards and a lot of points. Where they struggle is when they don't start fast. And Duke started fast last week. They had a 2-score lead against Clemson early. But if Florida State goes down in this game, because I have zero confidence in their defense, I don't care that they held Wake to 7 points. Their quarterback, Wake's Ashford just couldn't not skip a ball. Yeah. I worry a little bit about Florida State going down early in this game and then continuing to chase, because Clemson's offense, admittedly, their defense was terrible. Clemson's offense put up 45 points against a Manny Diaz coach defense that doesn't have the athletes that Clemson or Florida State have. I get that, but still a pretty respectable unit in some regards, at least well coached, So that is what I worry about the most is, did Clemson get up for the Duke game? I don't know. It's hard to know that. They will get up for this Florida State game, as I think Florida State will get up for Duke too. I just worry about them being able to start quickly, because they haven't started quickly since really that Alabama game. They were down 14-0 against Virginia. They were down 28-3 before you could blink against Miami. They were down early in the Pitt game. They were down early in the Stanford game. There was 3 minutes left in the first half, and they were only up 7-0 on Wake Forest this week before the floodgates opened. And so they haven't started fast since the first 3 games of the year. And are they able to do that against a beat up defense, a defense that's not any good, a fan base that's just as toxic as Florida State's is? Maybe. And they need to. Gus has to be in his bag from play one. I don't think either team would quit in this game. I don't see this game being super lopsided one way or the other, because I just think both defenses are bad enough to keep both teams in it. But if Florida State doesn't start this well, I think they'll chase all game and they won't find a way to come back. To me, we could talk about Cade, we could talk about Tommy, we could talk about Gus, we could talk about both defenses being bad. To me, it's all in who starts this game well, and whoever does is probably going to win.
I wonder about how much fight is there when it comes to Dabo, because Dabo at this point, the bottom line is that we don't know what the status is of Mike Norvell. He may end up being fired. Again, they came out with a statement that said, we're going to reevaluate at the end of the season. So he's good for the next several weeks. Dabo may just want to hit reset. And I feel like that last week's game, which again, I will gladly go on the record and say, as even a big Darian Mensah and Manny Diaz Duke fan, there is no shot in hell you could look at that play on 4th down and say Clemson had a pass interference defensive call against it. There's no way. There's none. But at the same time, you also had a horrendous defensive performance, and you kind of wasted a really good game plan from Kate Klubnik. You wasted a really good ground game from Gideon Davidson, from Randall. I mean, like you had some things that went your way. So is there fight there in favor of Clemson to close out the year? I mean, you look at Clemson's schedule, they got to steal some games away. You can remember this. You get Louisville, Furman, South Carolina. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the Louisville game's on a Friday night. So let's add that to the conversation.
Yeah. As someone who's experienced it, I know.
It's like, it's another weird Friday night ACC battle. Oh, and Louisville's really good on the road on Friday.
Right. Yeah, they're not a bad team, right? Like Louisville's good. It's not just weird, freaky Bourbonville. It's Louisville's freaking good, and they might have the best coach in the conference.
And by the way, they're really good on Friday night because they beat JMU at 14, and they also beat Miami. So like they're good on Friday night. You got Furman and you got South Carolina. And South Carolina at this point, they may be playing for a bowl game at that level too. So it's like,
and that's on the road, right? That's in Columbia.
That's in Columbia. So this again is your last Power 4 home game of the year to kind of at least give your fans something to kind of be hopeful for. And more specifically for you, make it clear that this season wasn't a waste and that there are things that you want to change. But from Florida State's standpoint, you also have to kind of steal a few games. You got the Florida matchup, you got at NC State, and you're home against Virginia Tech. So, I mean, like, you're not guaranteed a bowl game either. You could lose 4 straight, and then it's 4-8, and now you're hitting reset on all different avenues at this point. But I think that what I wonder about more so in this game is who is going to be the quarterback that you trust to be able to get the job done a little bit faster? Is it Tommy Castellanos with his legs? Is it Kay Klubnik through the air? Do you see that consistency of the passing attack that has been very well on display for Clemson at times this year? Does that continue to be a factor? Or does the consistency of what we see from the ground game of Florida State end up pulling on out? I think that really, I agree with you. Whoever starts off fast is probably going to get the win. But I don't think it's as simple as that because both these defenses have allowed teams to fight their way back in when you thought the game was over. So that may end up being the case as well.
I'll get right back to the video, but first, let me remind you about our friends over at Sleeper. Make sure that you are using the Sleeper app this college football season, whether you're playing in your eliminator leagues, whether you're playing fantasy football, or whether you're playing the more or less game to make some money with us. You can still deposit on Sleeper and get a 100% match up to $100 by using our code CFA. If you just want to click the link in the description, that'll autofill the code for you. It'll download the app and autofill the code. You don't have to do any work. Put your info in, play the more or less game with us, go get the free plays and make some money with us. Make sure that you read their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. Appreciate Sleeper for their support here on College Football Addiction. I wonder on this one, I think Florida State is playing better right now. And listen, I'm the biggest Florida State homer / hater at the same time that exists, right? Like, I understand how toxic things are. But I do think they're playing better right now. Look, they showed fight in that Miami game. They showed fight in that Stanford game in certain points. Now, we can all agree it's unacceptable to have to show fight against Stanford in the fourth quarter. They showed fight in that Wake Forest game. I thought they would quit after Stanford. I truly thought there was a great chance that Wake would beat them. And frankly, that game wasn't even close. It was never in doubt. Even from the beginning, you saw Wake's quarterback just skipping passes and penalty central and fumble central and everything else. They were not close to the same. And had Florida State played like they did against Stanford, it would have been a close game. Now, I still think they would have won by 10 or something, but it wouldn't have not have inspired a lot of confidence. Can Florida State stack that? And then I think they fought against Pitt. I think they fought in all their games. Minus maybe I thought they hung a little bit, their heads against Stanford defensively in some certain situations and just didn't execute very well. I wonder how much Clemson. I think if it was anybody else on the side of the if there was any other logo on the side of the helmet, Clemson would quit here. But because it's Florida State, I think that's a big deal. If this was Virginia, if this was BC, BC's terrible. That's a terrible example. If this
would
was,
they quit? Yeah, they probably would. They could still beat BC when they quit, but they would quit.
But because it's Florida State, I do think you get a good effort out of them. Now, just having a good effort does not mean that you execute well, right? Sure. Like Florida had a good effort. I thought Lagway looked better with his legs and arms and his arm than he had in a long time. He still missed the wide open wide receiver down the field that cost his team the game. So being up for a game does not mean that you execute well. And so I think Florida State's in a little bit better of a position here than Clemson, but a win against Wake is not enough for me. It's what happens first. Mike Norvell gets his second ACC win in 400 days, or Clemson beats a Power 4 team at home, right? Like that's the question.
What do you hope as a Florida State fan? Let me ask you that.
Say it again.
What do you hope as a Florida State fan?
I want to win the game. I'm going to the game. I am not. Last week, I was kind of like, oh, this could really be the last nail in the coffin because it was Wake, and there's no rivalry with Wake. Although Florida State fans will tell you, there's not that big of a rivalry with Clemson. They're just two really good teams. It's not like Miami or Florida. But there is more than any other ACC opponent besides Miami. So, yeah, I want to win for sure. This is not a situation where it's like, oh, let's lose and just get out of here. We could be down 14 in the fourth quarter and I'd be like, find a way to come back. Let's do this. So, yeah, I'm all in on winning this one. And ultimately, I'm not going to cheer against them for any week, but I still understand that Mike Norvell is not what this program needs long term. I just don't have enough faith in our defense. And so I'm going to lean Clemson here. I think it's close. I think it's like 31-27. Clemson wins this.
I think if Dabo wants to at least guarantee there's a conversation of him coming back next year, you have to win this game. I think that if he loses this one and he were to lose to South Carolina and lose to Louisville, which I think both are going to happen, there's no shot of him coming on back. So I think that he wants to come on back. I think there's enough fight in him. I go Clemson winning this one. 38-30 final score.
Yeah, I think we get a fun one. Sometimes we
Yeah.
get two bad teams playing each other. I mean, shoot, that Duke, not that I don't call Duke a bad team for all 6 of their football
Apparently
fans that are
somebody has
watching.
them in the playoff. So
Whew, that's a little rich. But I do like the ACC is going to be lucky to get one team in this thing, let alone Duke sneaking in.
9-3. That's a 9-3 team that sneaks its way in, TJ.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, shoot, wouldn't be the first time 2 years in a row. I will say it'll be like that Duke Clemson game was a ton of fun for a
Yeah.
neutral to watch, and I think this will be a lot of fun too. You got two teams that aren't very good, and there's still some, not terrible blood, not bad.